I am live. It's the 23rd of September 2023, and it seems that the chapter I've just read earlier today, out of Eyes of Horus, didn't have any sound to it. So it's a bit annoying. So this is chapter, well, it's actually not chapter, it's the part 5 of Joan Grants' book, Eyes of Horus, and it is the chapter 3 here. This is one of her lives as Ra-Up, the male heir to the nomarch of Oryx, and this plays 3,500 years BC. Prince Men-HET. Contrary to Sebek's gloomy forebodings, Mary had nothing but praise for Kia's behaviour. As soon as I told her about her future sister, she said that I must at once arrange for them to meet. And though I told her it was most unwise to take the risk of Kia's being seen by either of us, she persuaded me to bring her to the island pavilion after sunset that evening. At Sebek's suggestion, Kia's wore the tunic usual to a household servant and walked a few paces behind me, carrying a basket of fruit as though she were returning from the market. Mary was waiting for us on the landing stage of the island. It seemed a little unreal to me that these two women, who were both so dear and near to my heart, should be meeting for the first time. Mary held out her hands to Kia's and said excitedly, "I was right. I did know what you were going to look like. Though you were younger then. Do you still have Anilops?" "Yes, I do. Did Ra-Up tell you about him?" Mary smiled. "No, he didn't tell me." Kia's nodded. "Oh, I understand. You dream like he does. I'm so glad, for he would never have been really happy with someone who didn't understand the things he knows about, even if she was as beautiful as you are." Listening to them, I was well content, for I knew that between them also there was a golden link. Later, Mary said, "Till I met Ra-Up, I didn't know any real people. You're real like he is, which is the best proof, if anywhere needed, of the wisdom of the Oryx. You think for yourself, you are yourselves, but most people's minds are like the litter in the street after a festival, filled with all manner of things other people have discarded or lost. Neither of you would accept an idea without first forming your own opinion of its value. You know where you are going and why. Kia's, I think, could be quite unscrupulous as to her methods if she were sure she was going to the right goal." Kia's laughed. "You've been listening to Ra-Up. He has always said I'm unscrupulous. Sometimes I have to be, if people are stupid or if it's good for them to be teased a little. You ought to be grateful to me, for if I hadn't teased Ra-Up, he wouldn't be nearly as amusing as a husband." "What if you hadn't had him for a brother?" said Mary quickly. "Oh, then I should hardly have been anybody at all. Just a nice, good little girl who was no trouble to look after. And in time I should have been married, probably to Sebek, unless father preferred the son of the hare, and had 3 children as dull as myself. That's one of the nicest things about Ra. He never lets one be dull, even for a minute. You'll find that out soon." Mary slipped her hand into mine. "Oh, but I have found it out long, long ago, on the evening before my anniversary." I unpacked a basket of food which Mary had brought with her. The lid had come off the jar of honey. We were gay and light-hearted and ate with our fingers, licking them when they got sticky like children. Only when we had finished and had swum together in the little inlet, protected from crocodiles by a row of stakes, did we start planning what Kia's was going to do. On the way to the island, I had told Kia's about Ashek, about the royal heir, and those minor officials on whom I had already been able to come to a decision. "You don't seem to have found many honest men in the royal city," said Kia's. "Even Heliokios could not have been allowed to keep his office if he had gone on living. Though I don't expect he'd have minded going to a small house and not being important. I think I should have liked him. You'd better give me his monkey. I expect it misses him, and I like monkeys." She paused and then went on. "I don't think banishment is nearly bad enough for Ashek. Tahu reached Hotebra just before I left. She is going to keep the baby she looked after on the journey. Its uncle is very pleased because his mother, to whom he was taking it, is getting rather old to be good at playing with a small child. What would you do with Ashek? I suggested to Rodan that he be made to seal himself. I do wish I had been there when your message about him arrived. He must have known most of it already. I gathered from Heliochus that nearly everyone at the court has some idea of what goes on in the House of the Dark Silence, and that I wasn't the only one who looked through the eye. Heliochus had been there himself, and that was why he nearly warned me. He did give me several hints, but I thought he meant ordinary concubines and wondered why he had suddenly become so evasive. Why does the court let it go on? Because none of them will admit to knowing what's happening. Those who have first knowledge would never admit it. They know too well that silence is their only protection, and apart from fear, I think some of them really believe the royal heir is half divine, evil of course, but strong in the protection of Set. What shall we do with him? Asked Mary. I wish it was for me to decide, but it isn't. Rodan will give judgment on him. It will be wiser than what I should do, but not nearly so satisfying to anyone who has seen what that spawn of filth has done. I stop this here because my battery is almost empty. I continue this chapter later.